If you want to practice all of the new PTE questions using artificial intelligence on an online portal that has a similar marking to your real PTE exam, head over to masterpte.com.au to create a free account. Here, you can practice all 4 sections separately and receive instant feedback for all of your speaking, writing, reading, and listening. You can also view and compare your answers with others who have already succeeded in achieving a high score. Download 9090 Band's template for speaking, writing, and listening. Take mock test, receive instant result, overall feedback, and in-depth analysis which helps you pinpoint exactly where you lose points. masterpte.com.au, the best PTE practice software in the world.
Now biology or the study of biology is responsible for some of the most profound insights that humans have about the world around them. So take a look at these 4 panels. On the upper left, you see some bacteria. This happens to be E. coli. You obviously see a butterfly flower, a dolphin. If you fell down from outer space and just looked at these different forms and structures, you'd have no idea that they were all related to one another. So one of the most profound things biology has taught us is all life on Earth is exceptionally related and similar to one to another. So for example, all of these life forms rely on DNA and RNA, for storing and transmitting and using their genetic inherited information. They're all based on cells. Cells are the fundamental building blocks of all life. All of these organisms consist of cells, and the cells essentially at the same time inside of them carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen and a whole bunch of other stuff in much smaller amount. All of these organisms conduct metabolism, in other words, chemical reactions that use and convert energy from one form to another. And the basic chemistry is all very similar to one another. The types of molecules that are used are all very similar to one another. This is my next contribution to New Zealand's super diverse future. The status quo is not sustainable. Super diversity stop take, which I will talk to you about now, is designed to help us to adapt to a super diverse New Zealand to make sure that we fit for the future. Because New Zealand is super diverse right now, predominantly in Auckland, but actually throughout New Zealand here, we're already 50% Maori Pacifica and Asian. 44% are not born in New Zealand, and we have over 200 ethnicities. Now the definition academically of super diversity is 25% not born in New Zealand, 100 ethnicities. So we are almost double that number already. And Auckland will continue to become younger and browner as the Anglo-Saxon population ages and shrinks. So the mega trend here is not age. And the myth, the mega trend here is not urbanization, the mega trend is demography. It's a necessity. And we need to get our head around that, because most of the benefits from super diversity that we as a country are enjoying at the moment, such as greater innovation, productivity and advancement, increase New Zealand's financial capital, whereas most of the challenges from super diversity adversely affect New Zealand's social capital. However, if you don't mitigate the challenges to use social capital, you are not going to maximize sustainably the diversity dividend benefits for your financial capital. Fast radio burst is very much like what it sounds. It's a burst, it's a very fast burst of radio waves, comes from outer space long way away. And by fast, I mean really fast. So it starts and stops in about 1/1000th of a second. So you click your fingers and it's finished. First radio goes to a real mystery. We don't really understand exactly where they come from, or what actually makes them. And there's a lot of open questions that we really don't have an answer for. There are probably more theories about what makes fast radio burst, but then there are actual detections of these things. So since 2007, we've only had 20. But there are probably 30 or 40 different theories on what makes them. The most interesting thing about this burst is the fact that we found that we Australian square kilometre array pathfinder, so that is, it wasn't really obvious that we will be able to do this, as well as we ended up being able to do it. So this telescope is really a fantastic telescope. In fact, it's probably the best telescope on the planet at the moment for finding these bursts. And so whereas in the past, it's taken 10 years to find 20 bursts, once we're really going with this new instrument we'll be able to find them much more quickly whenever you can do 1 or 2 every week, and that will blow up in the field. So that will make it a much more. We'll be able to do much more detailed studies of these things, get better statistics, hopefully understand what they are and where they're coming from. Here in the wagon barn are some of the most important inventions in human history. Sure, you can see examples here of the wheel, or the automobile. That the inventions I'm talking about are the domestic appliances that allowed for increased leisure time, and redefined gender roles in society to a degree as never seen before in human history. The evolution of the washing machine, as demonstrated in this barn, is a representative example of this changing domestic life. For many centuries, sailors used to place their clothing in a cloth bag, tie the back to a rope and throw it overboard, letting the ship drag it for hours. The principle was simple: force water through the clothes to remove the dirt. But in the household before running water and electricity, Washington close to a staggering amount of labor to wash, boil and rent a single load of clothes to take care gallons of water, which had to be hand-carried from my pump or well. Hand-wringing, rubbing and lifting the clothes could expose women to caustic substances in the setups. The whole process for households' laundry could take an entire day or more as back-breaking labor, and 1846, a patented washing machine imitated the human hand moving cloth over a washboard by using a lever to rub the clothes between two red surfaces. This machine was sold in the U.S. as late as 1927. The first electric clothes washers, in which a motor rotated the tub, were introduced into America about 1900.
Poverty control is important in emerging world. In the development in the year 2000, China has promised to reduce half the poverty and the goal has been met. China has moved and taken actions to make poverty reduction become a reality. China also created a lot of middle-income people and opportunities to other countries. China also benefits other economies, such as Australia. People forget things every day, including experiences, feelings and thoughts, and we call this process biological forgetting. Remembering is hard for people, and people try to overcome biological forgetting. Humans' memory is not fixed, but it can be reconstructed and shaped by the past. People can capture precise things for a long period.
The main reasons for global bees' decline are industrial agriculture, parasites, pathogens, and climate change. The conclusions are real and well documented with strong evidence to support this important fact. The loss of biodiversity, destruction of habitat and lack of forage due to monocultures and bee-killing pesticides are particular threats for honeybees and wild pollinators. It is becoming increasingly evident that some insecticides, at concentrations applied routinely in the current chemical-intensive agriculture system, exert clear, negative effects on the health of pollinators, both individually and at the colony level. The observed, sublethal, low-dose effects of insecticides on bees are various and diverse. Most importantly, the main drivers of the decline are varied depending on different species, and people are becoming aware of the problems in order to take some actions before huge loss to our agriculture occurs.
Let's think about perhaps the top 10 things that people would like to know or ought to know about Shakespeare if they're getting into his works. The first thing to say is that he did live quite a long time ago. He lived 400 years ago. So if you're reading Shakespeare or listening to Shakespeare, you're listening to somebody whose language is not quite the language of our current. You're listening to someone who was writing in a language which is a bit out of date for now. It needs a little bit of effort to understand that language, but the understanding will be done partly for you by the actors, if you're hearing it, or if you're seeing it performed. Another thing is that Shakespeare was a very good poet. He wrote poems, narrative poems and sonnets, but he was also, and this is my third point, he was also a great theater poet. His poetry is dramatic poetry in his plays. He's not just writing static poetry, lyric poetry in the plays, which is therefore declamation. He's writing dramatic poetry, which consists of interaction between the characters of the plays. What's the literal definition of risk? Business schools use risk analysis. So what do you mean by risk? And we need a dictionary. When you look at the dictionary, this is literal definition of risk. What it says is, the definition, for example, the possibility of injury, a dangerous element or factor, chance of, degree or possibility of such loss, and so on. So risk has two parts. As you look at the literal definition of risk, one part is the consequence of some kind of particular danger, hazard loss, and the other is about the probability of it, the chance and consequence, okay? And then, at least just as English language concerns, when you look up the word of safe and safety, which you'll earn as, it's a little bit of a loop, a little circular argument that free from harm or risk, secure from danger, harm, or loss, the condition of being safe, and so on for all. And what do we take out of it? At least when we talk about safe, at least in English language, we are talking absolute something is safe or it sounds safe.
You've got sound receptors in your ear, and they're beautiful. We're not going to talk about them at any length, but there's little flappy, these little spiky things going along in your ear, and they can translate vibrational energy coming from your ear, hitting your eardrum, being translated into a vibration in the fluid in your ear, into a physical motion of these little receptors there, into an electrical motion, into an electrical signal that goes into your ear. So all that's pretty impressive stuff. We're not going to talk about the details of it, but I invite some of you who want to learn more about this, particularly MIT students, I think, find receptors to be really quite remarkable.
If you want to practice all of the new PTE questions using artificial intelligence on an online portal that has a similar marking to your real PTE exam, head over to masterpte.com.au to create a free account. Here, you can practice all 4 sections separately and receive instant feedback for all of your speaking, writing, reading, and listening. You can also view and compare your answers with others who have already succeeded in achieving a high score. Download 9090 Band's template for speaking, writing, and listening. Take mock test, receive instant result, overall feedback, and in-depth analysis which helps you pinpoint exactly where you lose points. masterpte.com.au, the best PTE practice software in the world.